G'day guys, how are we going? Well, today I'm going to show you how I wash my four-wheel drive after receiving quite a few requests to have a video made about this, so here it is. And by the end of it, you might get some tips how to wash your four-wheel drive. Let's get into it. Righto, so just before we get started and showing you how I wash my patrol, I'll just go through some of the tools of the trade that I need to get the job done on my patrol. Now, one thing with my car washes, fair income, they are nothing too fancy, but you know what? It gets the job done and you'll see the end result when it's all finished. So we'll just go through it. So firstly, short bloke like me needs a step ladder to get to some of those higher points. That way I can reach them. Then I just got, car wash here, just some Armour All car wash. I've got a little brush here that I use this to get into my wheels, tyres and all that sort of thing. I use a little brush, very handy for that. Just a good old bucket. And then just the one sponge. Now, I just use the one sponge. Now, if you're really fussy about scratches and all that sort of stuff, well, you might want maybe a couple of sponges, one for the panels, one for your bull bar and tyres and all the rest of it. But for me, my car's got plenty of scratches on it, so I'm not fussed about them, so I use the one sponge, and it certainly gets the job done. And then when it's all washed and finished, then I'm going to use some CT20 Truck Wash, and I'll spray that all in around the inner guards in there, get all that nice and clean, all the diff suspension all underneath. I'll spray all that in there, get all that mud and grime off before we get to the final bit at the end here. Then I'll just give it a chamois, but I'll show you what I do with the chamois a bit later on in the track. And then when it's all dry and everything, I'll just give it a wax. I haven't done this for a little while, but I'll sort of give it a wax maybe sort of 2, maybe 3 times a year, just to give that little bit extra protection on the paintwork so the water and rain runs off it when it's raining. And then good old Tyre Shine, just the cheap Tyre Shine. That goes everywhere. I'll show you that when we get there. And then just a few clean rags to go with just my my polish there at the end. So, got a bit to do. Let's get into it. Alright, so when I came back from that solo trip I did only a few weeks ago up around the Pinnacles, this was absolutely caked in mud. It was just absolutely caked all through there, through the guards. But I don't leave that mud on any longer than about 24 hours max if I can. 2 days absolute tops, because that stuff is so hard to get off if you leave it for a week or longer. So I got it all off that, a few days after I got back from that trip, went down the pressure washer, got it all off, and this is the end result. But this is where all the magic happens with the car wash at this stage right here. So make sure you get all that off. Don't leave it on, because fitting it is really hard to get off if you leave that really caked on mud on there for too long. So before I put any soap on it, I'm going to go around, I'm just going to soak the car, wet it all over, get all that mud and dirt that's on there now, get it all softened up, and it'll wash off so much easier. So let's do that. Just go around with it all. Just a quick scrub up, wash. It doesn't need to be anything too much. Just a quick hose, like so. And that just softens that dirt and everything up. And the other thing too is around your 4 doors, make sure you get your hose into all your drain plugs in the bottom of your doors. Because if you don't clean these out and these get filled up with mud, well, that's the best way to rust your door out. So make sure you get your hose in there, and you've got 2 little drain holes in here. Just get the hose in there until your water comes out. See, it's running out flush at the end there. Well, it's a little bit dirty. And coming out this one here, 3rd one there. Righto. Once they're all cleaned out, just go through again your all other doors as well, get all 3 of them done. So that's all nicely rinsed off there. I'm going to get one of my tools of the trade, my old ladder. Just give the roof just a quick rinse over. Righto, that's done. Now we'll go in the back. Righto, now we're ready to go on the other side and we'll start the wash. Righto, let's get up and get the roof. Now, I start from the roof first, get all the roof washed off, get all the soap in that, and then that all washes down your car when you wash the rest of it. No point washing your car first around the panels and over the bonnet and everything, and then do your roof last, because when you wash off the roof, all the soap's going to run down all over your clean paintwork. So start at the top and work your way down. Here we go. Look at that nice clean roof now. Perfect, nice clean roof. Right, don't need the ladder anymore. Let's get into the panels. This is where it really happens. Same with the bonnet, get the bonnet done first. And then you can hose all that off before you. I generally do all the front first, that front panel, like so. Hose this off. I like doing it in short panels, because especially during the summer months, you know, when the hot sunny days, you don't let the soap suds dry on your car. So I wash off in short panels just to make sure you get it all off. And you don't get streaks and runs and all that sort of stuff sitting in your paint. Get it all off while it's fresh, and don't let it dry on there. Righto, start washing the side. God, they're cocky. Same deal, start up high, get all my windows done first, then I'll work my way down. Again, now, like I was talking about scratches, if you're really fussy about scratching your paintwork, well, you might want to have a couple of buckets of water even too, but for me, that is not, I'm not fussed about that. So look how clean that's come up now, just with a bit of soap on it. Beautiful. Let's wash that off. Start at the top again, so all the soap runs down. Rinse down from the top. Always start from your eye points again. There's no point washing all the soap off down low here, then you do your windows, because all that dirty soap just runs down the bottom anyway. So always start up high. Look at that, magic. Right, let's go around the back. Righto. Hose, let's hose that off. Right up high. Alright, that's that side. Let's go around the other side. Get my windows all done first. And again, you know, rather than maybe doing swirls and swirls, just long straight strokes is probably the go-to again. It's going to help you reduce those scratches and things like that. Alright, front panel's done. Hose that off. Oh no, let's get on to the next stage. How good's that look? Fantastic. Okay, so next stage of my wash now is, which I always leave till last, is I do my wheels and tyres now. Now, I don't use any sponge for this one at all, because the type of wheels I got, these imitation bead locks, sponge is going to get ripped apart. So this is all done with a brush, and it gets into all the nooks and crannies so much better. So just get a brush in there. Cleans it so much better than getting a sponge in there. All around the hub, get all that all nice and clean as well. There we go. Tyres, then they go in the tube. So they're going to be nice and clean for when the tyre shine goes on. Righto, let's go to the next one. Get into this one. Now I'll do two at a time, and then I'll get the hose and I'll hose them off. Get that soapy stuff off, all the dirty soap off. Little dust brush there, feeding it's really handy, so handy for this sort of thing. Get all in there. And the top. Righto, get the hose. Wouldn't be washing your car if you didn't get squirted in your face, would it? Righto, let's go to this one. Those two done, two more to go. Yeah, with my spare I don't take it off to wash it, that's for sure. I just get into it what I can. Go on the other side. Right, my next stage now is I've got my pump bottle here with CT20 Truck Wash in it. Again, the way I'm showing you here, this is the stuff I've used for, before I even bought the Patrol. You know, I had Navara before this, and I clean my cars exactly the same way. And this is, I've had this since 2009, and then Navara well before that. So I find this stuff great. And again, it's a very simple wash, but geez, it gets the job done. So I just pump that up, and I'm going to spray it all inside the guards, all the way around, underneath the diffs, and front and back, and gets in and gets all that last minute, you know, mud and grime and everything off there, and it comes up really well before the tyre shine goes on and makes it sparkle. So let's go and do that. Pick that up, got spray. Oh, look at that. Now the idea with this stuff, don't use it on hot surfaces. They say you shouldn't use it on a hot surface. So what that reason is, I don't know. but that's just how I use it when it's cold, and works really well. Right, a bit more pressure back in it. This is great stuff. I love it to really clean it right up all inside the guards there. Really good for getting that hard to get to mud and grime off. Just let it soak on for a little while. And you don't let it dry on there either, they reckon too. So we'll go around the other side, get the others done, and wash it all off. Alright, that's it all sprayed up. Now I'll get the hose and go around, hose it all off. Comes up really well, this stuff. I really like it. Look how clean that's coming up. Next one. Alright, so that's sort of all the washing part of it done. So now I'm going to dry everything off and get it all nice and dry before I put the polish on and then put the Tyre Shine on as well. But I'm going to do a bit of a cheats way here first. I'm going to go for a run around the block, get as much water off it as I possibly can first, because when I spray the wheels and the tyres and all under the suspension and the diffs and everything, I want it nice and dry to put that stuff on it. So kill two birds with one stone, get as much water off the body and underneath all at the same time, make it so much easier when it comes to getting the chamois out. Let's go for a spin around the block. And there we go. Pretty much all the water's now all brushed off, all blown off as I went for a drive around the block. Now I'll still grab the chamois and I'll just go around and just get those last few minutes, bits of water off, and we'll get the Tyre Shine going. Alright, let's grab my chamois. And still a few little globlets still lying around. Just go right around the car, give it a nice dry off, completely all dried off. How good's it come up from where I started? Looks great. Righto, that's all nicely dried off. Also it's ready for when the polish goes on, because you want your car to be dry, the panels to be dry when the polish goes on and the wax goes on. So let's get now to the next stage. Let's get some Tyre Shine going and get some bling happening. Looks great. Righto, yeah, the Tyre Shine now. This isn't certainly, you know, it's not expensive stuff. I generally buy 3 cans for about $10, and that's all I need for this sort of thing. And the other good thing with Tyre Shine, the reason why I spray all my suspension, my diffs, everything with it, because I just find that you know, that mud, it's so much easier to wash your car. The mud doesn't tend to stick to it as easily as it does without anything, all this sort of stuff on it. But one hot tip though, don't go and spray all Tyre Shine and then go out in the bush this afternoon, because it's all going to stick to it. So make sure you're going to do it. If you're going to put Tyre Shine on, make sure you do it a few days before you're going to head out, at least a week. So it's all nice and dried off. So just spray everything in there. Oh, it comes up sensational. Geez, it looks good. And the tyres. Fantastic. Let's do the others. How good's that? than what it was. Now look at it, nice and shiny. Looks sensational. Now I'll go and do the others. How good's that look? Well, there you go. That's the Tyre Shine all done now. Tyres and wheels are all done. They're all around the suspension diffs. Looks great. And as I say, it's just a great way of, you know, the mud doesn't stick to it so much easier. When next time you go bush, you hose it all off, it'll fall off a lot easier with good old Tyre Shine. As I say, I've been using this stuff for years. So for me, it works a treat and I'll keep using it. One more stage to go, and that's going to put a bit of a wax over it, over the paintwork. Well, what paintwork I've got exposed, which isn't much, and then all that does is just help when it rains. The water just runs off, a bit like water off a duck's back, really. So that's what's going to happen. So we'll get the wax out, and we'll get that going. The last stage of this mighty wash. Righto, guys. Now we're into the very last stage of how I go about washing my full drive, and it's just to put a bit of a polish on the paintwork and just protect it from those elements. And so, you know, when it rains, you know, the water's just going to run off it, beads off and runs off. So much better if you don't have some sort of polish on. Now, I only do this probably 2, maybe 3 times a year. Don't do it after every single wash. And I've got a couple of rags here. Got a bigger one here that I'm going to use to buff it off, and then a smaller one here which I'm going to use to put the polish on. Now, I already hear some of you guys that have maybe got one of those sheepskin buffs that, you know, you put on your battery drill or your electric drill to maybe do it a bit easier than doing it by hand. But I've always done it by hand, so I'm going to continue doing it that way. Because I've got so many stickers on my car, just a couple, I just prefer to do it by hand. It makes it so much easier, I reckon. So here we go. So I use this smaller one here. And now, you don't need a great deal of this polish. It does go a long way. So I only need a little bit to get started, like a little bit like so, and just apply it onto your paintwork in that swirling motion. You know, all the dirt and grime's gone off it now, so don't have to worry about getting scratches if you're concerned about scratches on your car. I'm only going to do small sections too, you know. I don't go around and do the whole car in one go. I like to do small sections. It's a bit more easier to do it. Controls it a bit better. And comes up an absolute treat. Here we go. Put that one in there. Now we'll polish him off. And already you can see the shine starting to come up. It looks fair and it looks great. Well worth the effort to go to put a bit of a polish on. Just feel of it, so smooth. Looks great and feels amazing. So there you go. So now I'm going to go around, I'm going to get the whole car done. It does take a little bit of time to do it, but I'm going to get it all done, and this is going to look absolutely great when it's all done. So there you go, guys. That's how I go about washing my full drive. How do you go about washing your full drive? Maybe you got some tips out of this to maybe help you out with next time you go washing your full drive. Let us know in those comments down below. Always keen to get your feedback. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. I'll get back to polishing.